Good afternoon. This is Patty Joe, and I just wanted to invite you to follow up on the video about the mass shooting in Baltimore yesterday. I will give you just a little tiny bit of background. I was working for the fire department in that area for several years. I've worked with that fire department as an educator in many of the colleges, the university, and the community colleges, and with advisory board questions for decades. So I've worked with Baltimore City and for Baltimore City for a long time. Um, the shooting that happened, this is 30 people were affected. Two have lost lives. Three are still in critical condition. Nine transported by medic unit, which is half of the fleet of ALS units, um, to three local trauma centers. Um, I don't know how they were separated. I am no longer with the fire department. So let's take a look. They say 7 officers were patrolling in the area. This is a low income area. So I am sure these people are going to need help. I'm going to start looking to see if there's some funds being collected for them. And if there are, I'll pin it in the below in the comments. So let's take a listen to what the update is. This is Fox.
Last night's mass shooting at South Baltimore's Brooklyn homes continues. Again, this is what we know right now. The 30 victims range in age from 13 to 32 years old. 14 of them are juveniles under the age of 18. The two people killed are 18-year-old Alaya Gonzalez and 20-year-old Kylis Fag.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here and say that Baltimore is under a curfew. It is, in my opinion, a complete joke. The curfew basically states that if 10 or more youth are together in an area after a certain time, 9, 11 o'clock, something like that, then the police are going to ask them kindly to go home. And then about a week later, since they don't have enough police officers to do this, they were asking citizens to do this. So they are either asking them to go home or be transported by shuttle to an area recreation center. But basically, if there's 9 of them, technically you can't even do that. So this particular event was Brooklyn Day, and this is a long-standing event for these folks in the area. They get together, they bring out their grills, they have ice cream, they have different events, they have games, and in the middle of the night, this was just decimated. Let's see if we can get it to play again. Come on. Let's see if I can.
Bemi. 9 victims are still in the hospital. Police believe at least 2 people opened fire at the party, but they haven't released any more information about possible suspects. Authorities are asking anybody with video or information about the shooting to call police. Metro Crime Stoppers offering an $8,000 reward. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor was the first reporter on scene after that block party. She walks us through what happened.
Brooklyn Day. It is a time-honored tradition here in this community. From what I'm told, it is an annual block party that has been happening for decades. It is heavily attended. Hundreds of people, not just from the Brooklyn community, from across the city, come to gather here once every year for celebration. I'm told it's something people look forward to every year. You can tell by the way that they talk about it. It's something special. It's something that they cherish. But this beloved block party, unfortunately, turning terribly tragic. This is the remnants of a beautiful gathering ripped to shreds by senseless gun violence. And if you look closely at the debris, you can see it's more than just broken bottles and trash. People dropped whatever was in their hands and they ran. Among what was left behind, we've seen purses, we've seen backpacks, jackets, shoes, so many shoes, phones, all abandoned as dozens of people ran for their lives, of which we now know at least 30 did not outrun the gunfire. Now taking a look at the back of the scene, you can also see an abandoned ice cream truck. I'm told that there was a petting zoo at today's event as well. Obviously, this is a day meant for families. Many, many children attending this gathering. It's also important to note that this neighborhood, Brooklyn Homes, is public housing, which is why you see city crews have now arrived and they're cleaning up this debris. They've already carried away bags and bags full of garbage, but while they can clean the streets, picking up the pieces of this tragedy will not be easily swept away. This is something that the people here, that the people across the city will be dealing with for a very long time. In Brooklyn, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
The Baltimore City Police Union tweeting about the shooting, saying just 7 officers were patrolling the Southern District when the shooting happened. The FOP says 10 years ago, that number would have been 20. The tweet goes on to call on Mayor Scott to create a
7 is ridiculous. This is an area where that evening another person was shot. There were 4, I believe 4 other shootings in the city that very night. This is the 5th mass shooting in Baltimore this year. And there have already been 2 police-involved shootings. One apparently with a loss of life. So this whole curfew, the crime plan, the level of fire apparatus and ambulances and medic units they have in the area are inadequate. They're overworking these people, and the police, ridiculous. And let us not forget the fine officer that lost her life in this same very area not so very long ago. The crime in the city, the way these agencies are run, is Animal Farm. These people we're actually paying what squeegee workers to stay off of the corners. They're carrying weapons. Not good. Not good. Do the same thing again. It looks like I don't know what is going on.
retention and recruitment plan to bring in more officers. The department is nearly 500 officers short. Now, acting police commissioner Richard Worley
because the other one left.
His comments during that news conference today, saying the department is looking into it. Meanwhile, former police commissioner
that's a good idea.
Michael
Look into that.
Appeared on CNN this afternoon. He says he's never seen anything like this during his 4 years in Baltimore City.
I was, like most people, shocked and horrified at this horrific event. When you think about it, 30 people shot at a block party.
And he just walked out not too long ago. I wonder if they did have some intelligence on this.
And likely the most violent, the largest, and most deadly and violent mass shooting the city has seen, certainly in recent years. Begin to ask myself, although I'm transitioning out, the acting commissioner is in the role, the very same questions about police presence and what was known, when it was known, and how could police not have known? And all of those questions, I believe the acting commissioner is asking right now.
State and local leaders taking to Twitter to react to the mass shooting. City Council President Nick Mosby posting a statement saying, quote, "My heart breaks for the lives lost by senseless violence in South Baltimore, calling on anybody with information to step forward." Republican State Delegate Kathy Shalega calling out politicians for defunding and demoralizing police, saying it has consequences. The tweet goes on to say, quote, "Tragically,
That's not
2
really
people died, 28 are injured." Councilman Mark Conway saying his thoughts are with the victims and their families. He says to target those celebrating on a holiday weekend.
Really drive through there sometime. Maybe fix the roads and pick up the trash.
4 other people were hurt in shootings across the city this weekend. Around 6 tonight, a 41-year-old man was shot along Popland Street in South Baltimore.
That's less than 2 miles away.
A 15-year-old boy was shot along North Register Street in East Baltimore. He is expected to be okay. And during today's news conference, Mayor Brandon Scott mentioned homicides and non-fatal shootings are down compared to
Oh,
last
thank
year.
you, Brandon.
But
That's
when we look
great.
at the crime trends over the last few years, we are seeing similar numbers. Last night's shooting puts Baltimore on pace with non-fatal shootings at this time in 2021. 37 more people have been hurt in shootings than this time in 2020. The number of homicides are lower this year so far, but former deputy
Do you know how many rounds have to be fired in people running and that kind of chaos to actually hit 30 people? It had to have been hundreds. Because once people are in motion, I don't care what kind of great shot you are, it's a number, not a skill. Ridiculous. Please don't make me do this again.
Commissioner Jason Johnson says sadly that might not hold.
I don't think much progress has been made on the crime fighting front. We're just 6 months into the year, and we're in the year following a record high year. So you are going to see fluctuation. You are going to see pullbacks.
Fox 45 News will continue to follow last night's mass shooting. We'll keep you updated on this developing story both on air and on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
I'm going to look for all 5 of the mass shootings, see if I can't get some real documentation on those. Ultimately, this is just I don't think this is even the pinnacle of where it's going to be, unfortunately. These people are not safe. Okay, well, on that unhappy note, I will look to see if there's any fund me's or other things. Maybe we can start one for the people who may need help, you know, with their injuries, with whatever's going on. Thank you for checking it out and joining me on my sick and twisted hobby.